For anyone new to M&H, Martha and Hepsie, take us back to the beginning. Why did we start this?
So for me, it was, I was living in London. I had lived there for 4 years. Post degree, I'd done a textile design degree in Nottingham, and I'd got jobs at some design houses and production manager. So I was going to the Far East every year, overseeing production and stuff in the factories there. And I kind of hit, the London grind had really got to me, and I'd kind of hit stalemate with it. And I was still on the side producing my own work just for my own creativity. It's always been a therapy for me, and I craved my own autonomy. I wanted to produce designs for myself, and I had got a position for a certain design house and I hated it. I was miserable there, and I remember thinking, this isn't how I want my life to be like. So yeah, I was ready to pivot and make a change.
To be honest, it was born out of frustration. I was never, well, I can be academic, but put my fingers up to academia and went and did a fashion design degree, then ended up in marketing, and I had a whisper of creativity, but it was still quite corporate. I was on maternity leave with my second child, and I just knew that there needed to be a change.
So what do you remember from those early days, and how did reality differ from what was in your head?
I distinctly remember it being quite exciting and also slightly bonkers. So there's definitely, I've got a really vivid memory of me trying to build our first website on some, God knows, I don't know, Tritstick type website platform, whilst my son, who was 9 months old, wasn't going to sleep. So I put him in the buggy and was basically rocking him with my foot whilst trying to kind of like build a website. But it was also really exciting, like we were doing something for us rather than being told what to do, and there was definite a sense of proving people wrong.
I felt quite rebellious, I think. I wasn't happy. Company that I was working for, I just wasn't happy. Their ethos didn't align with mine, and so the side hustle of working a 5 to 9, we used to call it, not a 9 to 5. So working evenings and weekends felt quite rebellious, felt quite selfish, but in an exciting way, because we were starting something that was for us, not for someone else, and a little bit crazy. I was still living in London with my now husband, and we'd just moved into a 1-bedroom flat, but it was on 3 levels, and the ground floor was like a little, it was a garage, but you couldn't even fit a car in there. But I'd turned it into a makeshift studio, and I would screen print our very first tea towels by hand in there, the back-to-back bruise designs, and so it was very makeshift. I had tea towels drying everywhere, and then I would go and sell said tea towels and card designs and prints at Spitalfields Market and Crafty Fox markets in Brixton. But yeah, it was rebellious, haphazard, but something exciting because it was new, and I definitely remember it bringing me joy.
Was there a moment where it shifted from being a hobby to it feeling real and sustainable?
Absolutely. I think there was a sink or swim moment for me. I actually got made redundant from the role that I wasn't happy with anyway, but it was like our hands were being forced situation, and I ended up, my husband and I, my now husband, ended up leaving London and moving back to Sheffield. And it was a now or never situation of, do you go out and get another job, or do you make this then hobby into something real? And Heps and I both decided that we just got to give it a go. And so from that point on, I was like, this is my main focus and it has to work.
There's definitely been like a few milestone moments that kind of felt like we'd made it. For example, seeing our products featured in like glossy magazines, and being asked very first kind of few years, can't remember when because we're so old, but Martha being asked to illustrate a Christmas card for the then Deputy Prime Minister. That was kind of definitely a milestone. Being involved in projects like the British Skin Foundation, actually going and asking and saying and creating these projects and then coming to life, that was brilliant, sort of like from a complete idea to reality. Amazing. And definitely a big milestone moment for us was being part of the Made Local project and being stocked by John Lewis.
Oh, how has running a business together shaped your relationship as sisters?
I think overall it's brought us closer together, because not only have we been running a business, we've also had to deal with kind of big life moments like our mum having babies, Martha getting married, stuff like that all together. So it's brought us definitely closer together. Not saying that we haven't had our moments though, because we most definitely have, but we're in a good place now.
That's a good one. Listen, it's been overall amazing. We had, not going into major detail, but we've got a patchwork family, and we grew up separately from when I was 9 and Heps was 14. And creating Martha and Hepsie was back then like a glue for our relationship. It really brought us together. Communication was a lot harder back then, and it was something that we were working on together as a team, and it meant that we had to communicate a lot more than when we weren't doing it. And it's over the years we've faced life challenges together that we wouldn't have, if we weren't working together, we wouldn't have had to deal with together. And yeah, we've navigated a lot of life trauma, business trauma, and yes, we get annoyed and pissed off with each other still. Blood is thicker than water. We know that we've always got each other's back. We can be completely honest with each other, and fundamentally it's made us stronger than not. And I still love her.
Over the 15 years that we've been doing M&H, what have been some of like the real turning points for the direction of the brand? Still feels a bit weird saying brand. That kind of like for me is got a bit of a corporate association to it. But anyway, turning points for brands, not just like the commercial elements that I've just said before. I think definitely like life moments have directed us in how we kind of present, sell, create the products. So for example, Martha having her first child probably influenced us doing children's wear and baby wear. The grief of losing our mum has definitely led us to reassess what we wanted to do, who we are as a brand, and what products we want to do. So yeah, not only is it kind of like the commercial, woohoo, look, we've sold this and we've done that, but definitely like life moments have been pinnacle in some of the changes that we've made.
For me, the turning points haven't been very quiet. They've been monumental life shifts that have made, in my opinion, made us turn directions. Things like our late mum becoming poorly and having to pivot and look after her for her final years. That really made us refocus what was important in the brand, how we could maintain running the brand whilst looking after our mum and all the responsibilities that end of life care take with that. Having children, I had children in the middle of creating M&H, or in the middle of our now 15-year journey. I've got a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old. I lost pregnancies in that time as well, so that was a pivoting with life trauma. COVID was a bloody monumental pivot and a change of direction. You know, survival in situations like that for businesses, and then refocusing on what is really important in our business, and a realization and a reminder that life is very short, and what is important, why are we doing this? Okay, you've created something with real longevity in a world that moves so fast. How have you resisted pressure to create stuff that doesn't feel right?
We haven't. We have definitely, well, I can definitely say that I feel like we have gone down some roads that were definitely the wrong direction for us, and we have compared ourselves and made ourselves feel small and not kind of like done what's felt right. However, being a company that has had such a long kind of like time to run, 15 years, we've learned from those mistakes, and I think now what we do is, even if we do end up going down a path that's our wrong direction, we can tell pretty quickly so that we can do a bit of a U-E and go on in the right direction.
This has come from doing the wrong thing and making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. Be it ordering too much stock because we have to have everything in stock. We can't miss a sale. That then gives you, for small businesses, potential crisis in cash flow, and it kind of keeps your hands tied. So lessons in things like that, not having to have everything, and everything is okay. Also, trends. We've always said we're trend aware but not trend driven. I don't ever want to be a sellout. As a designer, I'm aware of trends, and I'm aware of being commercial, because obviously we are running a business and we need to make money, but just being aware of what trends are appropriate for you as a brand, and not hopping on every bandwagon, because you don't need to, and they're not necessarily going to be true to us as a brand. And so having the realisation of what is fit for Martha and Hepsie and what isn't.
Has your perception of success changed over the period of time that we've run the business?
I don't know whether it's softened or sharpened, but it's definitely shifted. We've been brought up in a society where money equals success, and I need to pay the bills, and I need to pay my mortgage and my nursery bills and put food on the table. But over the 15 years, I've realised that if I'm not earning loads of money, then that doesn't make me unsuccessful. I have, after losing mum and going through big life trauma, it's made me reassess what success is, and it isn't always earning money for me. It's about, am I happy or not, and what brings me joy and what brings me happiness. And day to day, I want to be enjoying what I am doing. I want to love my work, and I do. So therefore I am successful. It's also about knowing your worth. So I mentioned about, it's not all about money, but it's obviously I'm not going to do stuff for free anymore. I'm not a student, and I think it comes with time and confidence about knowing what you're worth. So that, teamed with enjoying what you do, equals success to me.
Yep, To begin with, it was all about the money, and the money equaled success, and we were like working. But over the years, because we've had the autonomy to be able to deal with ill children, ill parents, going on holiday when we want to, my perception of success has definitely changed. It's gone from being quite masculine to bouncing all the way over to being quite feminine, and then I'm kind of like realigning in the middle where it's got some autonomy and softness and the ability to do what we want when we want, but also combining that with financial gains.
What has been the hardest lessons and the things that no one tells you about when you start out?
The hardest lessons always have the biggest learning, so that's good, but there's definitely been quite a few hard lessons. I would say that one of the biggest is at the beginning we definitely knew what we wanted, to achieve, and then we kind of like lost that momentum, and that's really difficult because then the external stuff gets really noisy, so you compare yourself to everybody else. You kind of react to everyone else's expectations rather than knowing what you want and what you're doing. So that kind of puts you in the mud, definitely. But now we're much more focused, so that's really good. And yeah, you can kind of read it in textbooks and people tell you about it, but you need to definitely know your why. Also, money. Understanding money, that's a really important hard lesson, and acknowledging that your attitude towards money definitely affects the way that you behave in your business. That's definitely, again, a hard lesson to go through, and knowing your skill set. So when we started, Martha and I are both creative, but Martha was definitely the one that did all the illustrating, and I did kind of the marketing and the strategy. Again, in the middle, I think we overlapped a little bit. There was a little bit of friction with regards to who was doing what and why were we doing it, and that kind of gets you nowhere. You just go around in circles. So definitely staying in your lane as a company, and then staying in your lane as a person, using and working to your strengths.
For me, I think running your own business doesn't mean just doing one thing. It means doing bloody everything. Fundamentally, I am a textile designer and an illustrator. And if I had that role in a employed position, that is what I would be doing 80 to 90% of the time. When you're running your own business, you are doing design probably 20% of the time as a designer, and the rest is, you know, researching markets, booking the markets, social media, marketing, finances, photography, editing, like everything that you can think of, you have to wear that hat. And I don't think it's like before you have kids, you don't actually know how hard it is until you do it. I think the many hats that you have to wear in a business, you just don't know how tricky it is until you're having to do it. But on the plus side, you learn a hell of a lot. You're completely thrown in the deep end. You have a lot of self-initiation and really push yourself. You don't get sick pay, you don't get people to cover you. If you're not doing the job doesn't get done. So yeah, there's a lot of learning that goes on in running your own business, but also you come away with an abundance of transferable skills, which is amazing and invaluable.
What excites you now, and are there any ideas that you've been holding on to for the right moment? I think what excites me now is definitely having that focus again, that we took the time to get out of the business and kind of look at it from above and understand what we both want, because we are very different people to who we were 15 years ago. Martha didn't have kids 15 years ago. She's now got 2 boys. I had very young kids 15 years ago. I've now got a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old. Very different parenting and life. So yeah, knowing what we're doing and why we're doing it makes things so much easier. It doesn't feel like a struggle, and removing the comparison and reintroducing collaboration has definitely, that makes me excited, and it activates my imagination and the future, kind of like Marks and Spencer's. Martha and Hepsie.
Bet you we're gonna have a similar answer to this. Feel really excited at the moment because we potentially lost our way a little bit a few years ago, and we have become much more focused on what our focus is, and what with the way of the world at the moment, it really aligns with that. Fundamentally, we're about producing gorgeous designs that brighten your everyday, that bring joy and optimism to your everyday, teamed with a love of homewares and pattern design and fabric design and gifts, and really remembering that joy and optimism has always been our main focus, and now we're taking some projects that really align with that, and as a designer that makes me really excited, and makes perfect sense as well.
And finally, when you look back at everything that we've done over the past 15 years and what we've built together, what makes you most proud? That we're still here and that we've run a business for 15 years, that we've had the resilience and the persistence to do it, that we've navigated through like massive life milestones and business milestones and still had a business at the end of it in some form or another, and that we've done it. Like, we've got experience so much. So yeah, that's what I'm proud of, how we have grown and what we have learned over the past 15 years. And I'm excited to see how we evolve in the future.
I'm most proud that we're still here, that we overcame some really shitty times, both in personal life and in business life, and that I've run a business, I've built a business with my sister. Not many people can say that, and we're still talking and we still make each other laugh. We've had highs, we've had lows, and we're still here, and yeah, I'm just really proud of us for all the challenges we've faced, and for all the gorgeous, amazing work that we've produced, and the relationships and collaborations that we've had, and the ideas that we have, and the future plans. We're working on some really exciting things, and the respect that we've got for each other. Yes, we have our moments, like it's a real privilege working with your sister, and I think our mum would be really proud of what we've produced. Oh God, here I go. Yeah, I'm just really proud of us, and I'm really excited about what is coming next.
I know it's the lights are on and